After a busy Sunday filled with NFL action, I'm here with Erik Bay to break down the weekend and events that happened. Erik, thank you for taking this time.
Yeah, lots of different stuff here happening this weekend.
Yeah, and a lot of it had to do with quarterbacks when it comes to the NFL. And just starting things off, we'll talk about the New Orleans Saints game versus the Denver Broncos. The Saints ended up winning that one 31-3, and there were struggles for the Broncos even before the game started. They didn't even have an actual quarterback to start this game. They had to bring in somebody from the practice squad. Erik, do you think they were maybe hopeless just from the beginning?
Yeah, I mean, if the Saints lost this one, it's the equivalent of the Maple Leafs losing to a Zamboni driver. I mean, there's no way around it, especially the way the Saints defense has been playing, especially in recent weeks. The thing that concerns me about this game, though, is the fact that this kind of sets, I would say, a dangerous precedent. And I don't know if you agree, just the fact that they still played the game despite losing an entire roster's worth of quarterbacks. And I know right now it's the Broncos who are out of a playoff spot. Probably not the biggest concern in the world for most fans. But what if this happens when we get to the playoffs or an elimination game, a win and get in say week 17? That's where this kind of concerns me because I feel like the NFL has set a precedent. We're going to play no matter what, and you kind of have to stick to that at this point.
Or even for me, Erik, it sort of comes to where do they draw the line on who gets to play and who gets to sit out a week. I mean, if we look at it, the same week we've heard the storylines about the Baltimore Ravens and their game continually getting pushed. Now, the Broncos didn't get their game pushed because they were considered that they were still able to play versus the Ravens who were not able to play just due to numbers of players out. But I mean, how does that change? When you have 4 quarterbacks out and you have 0 quarterbacks remaining, that seems unable to play in my mind, does it not?
Yeah, that's the most important position on the field. And you throw in a guy who's been out of the league for a couple of years, was a quarterback way back in college, and is now a wide receiver. So, yeah, as you said, this was pretty much hopeless from the beginning. And you're right, it is a very interesting line in the sand to draw for the NFL.
Taysom Hill did pick up his second win there in his second start as well. Moving on now, the Atlanta Falcons surprise not only myself and yourself, but I think all NFL fans out there, defeating the Las Vegas Raiders 43-6. Erik, just take me through this game, what you saw there.
Yeah, I mean, really, the Atlanta Falcons, surprisingly enough, their defense has really been the strength of this team the last couple of weeks. Even with their loss against the Saints, it was their defense that vastly outperformed the offense, and it happened again this weekend. Obviously, 5 turnovers is really what led to the Falcons putting up so many points because, to be honest, their offense wasn't really impressive. Their run game was virtually non-existent. Matt Ryan only had about 200 yards passing, and when you throw in a pick 6 along with those other turnovers, that's really the big difference. And at this point, it kind of seems like the Las Vegas Raiders are the opposite of the Falcons, where the Falcons start poorly and finish off pretty strong. It seems like the Raiders start pretty good and then tail off towards the end. They went 1-5 to finish off last season, miss a playoff spot. So now we're going to have to see. The rubber has to meet the road here for the Raiders and see what team this Raiders team actually is, and if they can be the team that beat the Chiefs earlier this season, narrowly lost to them the last couple weeks here, and now can they make the playoffs and be the team we really expect and have seen them to be earlier in this season?
Yeah, for me, Erik, it's more, is Derek Carr going to be that same quarterback we saw against the Chiefs? And really throughout most of the beginning of the year, he was doing outstanding. Or is he going to be the quarterback that we did see on Sunday? I guess only time will tell for the Raiders, hoping to make that playoff push there. Now, moving on to the North, the Packers blew out the Chicago Bears, or at least it was looking like a blowout as the Packers put up 27 points in just the first half alone. Aaron Rodgers was really doing what Aaron Rodgers does. Erik, do you think we could see another MVP coming from Aaron?
Oh, without a doubt. I think really at this point, in my mind, he's kind of the front runner, especially now that we've seen the last few weeks Russell Wilson hasn't been performing to the level he was earlier in the season. And to be fair, that is a hard level to continue to attain. But Aaron Rodgers has really been consistent here week in, week out throughout the entire season. And the Bears, the strength of their team is their defense. Their offense is pretty laughable, we've seen here the past few weeks, but their defense is actually very good. And they got torched for 41 points. So I think Aaron Rodgers at this point is putting up another MVP season. As I said earlier, I think he's ready to, take out the noise there about the fact he doesn't have any wide receivers and go for another Super Bowl championship.
Yeah, this was the first time since 2016 that the Bears actually allowed more than 40 points. Now, continuing talking about offense, final game here to discuss is the Kansas City Chiefs win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Sort of Mahomes versus Brady in this one, and Mahomes really took off early. Him and Tyreek Hill had that connection right off the bat. Tyreek Hill is first player in over 30 years with 7+ receptions and 200+ yards in a single quarter, let alone an entire game. So pretty unreal connection there and a great week of football. More to come in next week. Eric, it's always a pleasure getting to chat with you.
For sure.